This was the scene in the parish of Clarendon earlier this year. 3 times the usual rainfall brought floods and devastation. And yet the one reprieve the residents in this community of 400 to 500 people were hoping for after being plagued for years with water shortages has not panned out. 1 month after the May floods, this water catchment facility in the Sangster Heights community sits empty. Located about 5 minutes' drive from the Chapelton Square, this facility is served by a pump that residents say is seemingly broken from time to time. It services the communities of Chapelton, which includes Sangster Heights. It's been empty during times of drought and apparently even during times of floods. And the residents who depend on it for their water supply are tired of it. Shannon Mantok runs a local laundromat in Sangster Heights. Some residents say they get piped water once or twice per week.
I was born and grown in this community.
Yes.
And it's always been like this with the water issue.
Yes.
And in the past times, we had Padre in Georgian who had made a tank up here for the community and its surroundings.
Yes.
And it's never been in operation since, you know what I mean? So that's why I really consider that, you know.
Residents complain that there's an unwillingness by the authorities to manage the problem that's been going on for decades.
Politician comes, they go, you know, and no one ever really determined to really solve the problem, you know. The tank is there, probably it's just a valve it need to replace or something. But it's just a simple problem, I think. We get it in operation, you know.
It's very rare, it is very low, so I think it's people not doing their job wise. Sometimes we don't have any water. And most time you would hear them say that they pump at something burn up. It's neglect, they neglect us, why we can't get water sometimes.
Water for the South Chapelton Water Supply Scheme is sourced from a spring called New Ground and from an underground source called Low Ground Wells, a few miles south of Maypen. From there, water is pumped to the Ennis Relift Station, then onto Turner's, and then gravity allows the water to flow to Chapelton and Sangster Heights. When the pump is down, there are water disruptions. When we contacted National Water Commission on June 13, that's exactly what we were told that happened by NWC Water Production Manager for the parish, Noel Kennedy.
Down by Ennis is down now. Yes. So you will have that flow into the tank as it ought to be. Yes. And I did say earlier on that we have that flow down by the end of the week. So yes. Okay. So by the end of this week then we have the normal flow. Normal flow means when we have everything up and running, water will be pumped, the water will be fed into the tank. You have the capacity at the tank. So what is the capacity? And then the water will be fed to the in the area.
Alright, so let me get this set. The pump to be sorted out, of course, we have had a drought problem in recent weeks.
Well, yeah, we having rains over the past couple of months.
Yes, yes.
Obviously, yes.
So then when all is put into place, and it should be, a couple of weeks or so, then the Sangster Heights and any other area should be
Chapelton, Sangster Heights, Long Hill, we have a normal water supply.
Yes. Are we looking?
But although Kennedy says a broken pump is usually back up and operational within 3 days, residents complain disruptions happen too often. If it's not the pump, it's a broken valve, drought, or floods that trigger power outages. Even road construction affects their water supply.
Yes. And as I said earlier on, the road improvement work has taken its effect, and that has been a protracted period, probably 2 years. We have hurdled that problem in terms of the water. And I guess every resident in that area was aware of the fact. It was very obvious that the road has been expanded. The pipelines, we have issues. We communicate with the residents sometimes on what is happening, when there's no water sent from shop there. But that's really work in progress.
Yes.
And progress means at the end, people have better work. At the pipeline will replace, so you have new pipeline now going into the pipeline.
We visited the Capitan community again in July to check on what Kennedy had said. Indeed, a representative at the local hospital said water supply had recently gotten better.
The last few weeks, we realized that water coming in through the pipes have improved from the last few weeks now. So I don't know if it's reflective of the wider community, but I can speak from the hospital basis.
And when we called laundromat owner Shannon Montauk in July, he too said the water supply was more consistent, up to 4 days out of every week. Principal Walter Gibbons, who lives near Sangster Heights, also said she had seen some improvement, but was still not satisfied. Getting consistent access to water is not just about convenience, but health. In a Gleaner article in February, Medical Officer of Health for Clarendon, Dr. Kimberly Scarlett Campbell, revealed that there was an increase in the number of gastroenteritis cases in certain areas of the parish. Mr. Leon Walters, the administrator we spoke to at Chapelton Hospital, had this to say.
Well, we do see gastroenteritis cases because if persons are not getting access to clean water, then you have to understand that these type of diseases will surface, these type of outbreaks. So we have definitely been seeing those cases.
And doctors in the area say it's mostly children who are affected.
You get a lot of kids coming in with vomiting and diarrhea, especially at school.
Yes.
And some of them tell you they don't really have any pipe water to drink. So some of them go as far as drinking water from the river. And you and I know that you get lots of parasites and stuff that get exposed to these things.
NWC Parish Manager Kennedy told us the National Water Commission trucks water to clinics, hospitals, police stations, and the schools. While school principal Walter Gibbons acknowledges this for her school,
at this school we don't really have a water problem because of the tank. They made a big tank when they were building the school. Yes. So when the water come, even on weekend, we just refill the tank, so we always.
At home, dealing with water is a struggle. And though she has complained to the councillors, there's no urgency in the authorities' response to her request.
Well, whenever time I don't have any water and I always talk to the councillor. Yes. I never really go to the MP, but I always talk to the councillor.
Your councillor is?
Uriah Mitchell.
Uriah Mitchell, okay.
Yes, I always talk to him and tell him to find out what is the matter, why we don't have any water. And sometimes he says the pump. Yes. Out of service. Because I know when I have a problem, I talk to him about it, but I don't know what step he takes.
Our news team visited Uriah Mitchell, who initially agreed to our interview, but then said he was too busy to talk on at least 2 occasions. When we caught up with another councillor for the Chapelton Division, Herschel Brown, at a parish council meeting, he said the residents were raising a valid concern. In an interview with Mayor of Maypen, Winston Mirage, he too acknowledged that there was a water problem in Chapelton, but referred us to the NWC.
I am aware that some sections of Chapelton for a number of years now have had some problems. However, the NWC personnel would be better able to tell us if there's another source in the Chapelton area that can be built on, so that we could get more water into that area. Mr. Jackson, who is the regional manager for NWC in this area, he would be better able to tell us exactly if they have identified a source and the areas that could be served from that source. So what I'll do, I'll try and make contact with him and to find out exactly what is happening with that one.
When we called the NWC's Kennedy at the end of July to report our findings from residents, he said it is possible that some people may still be having water disruptions. However, they should call the NWC customer service line, and as long as they are paying customers, he says it will be dealt with.